Welcome back to another episode of the Blissful Biz podcast, episode 165. I'm your host, Susanne Reicher. Thank you so very, very much for being here. In today's episode, we are going to go behind the scenes of my most recent launch of my newest program, the Blissful Biz Launchpad. I'm going to pull back the curtain and share it all with you, what I did, what worked, and what didn't work. Hey there, welcome to the Blissful Biz podcast. I'm your host, Susanne Reicher, here to help yoga and wellness entrepreneurs build a thriving online business. If you're ready to make a bigger impact and earn money online, you are in the right place. Each week you learn about websites, digital products, social media strategies, and what's working now to build your online business. And now let's get started. The Blissful Biz Launchpad is a new program where I teach you how to create and sell your first small online course. The idea behind this was to offer something that would help people who want to launch an online course but are scared of the tech and everything that this means. They want a clear roadmap and they are not ready to do a full-blown launch with a free challenge or a webinar and all that. What I would recommend to do if you want to sell a more premium program at a higher price point. This is not where most people start, right? We start with something that we sell for maybe $100 or $200 or even $300. But normally your first online course, you don't really start creating a program that you sell for $1,000. So, when you're just getting started, you might not have an email list yet. Or if you do a teeny tiny one and you want to get your feet wet, those are the people who I wanted to create this program for. And I also wanted this to be a self-study course that's incredibly easy to follow with templates and copy swipe files and Canva layouts and a really clear step-by-step approach, like in 1 week you do this, in week 2 you do this, etc. So it's based on a program I've launched in the past, the Blissful Biz Academy, but more with a focus on beginners and starter courses. And I'm updating all the lessons, adding more templates, workbooks, checklists, all the things. I also wanted this to be a downsell for my premium program, the Blissful Biz Incubator. So it should be for people who aren't ready for the incubator yet. So who don't have an email list yet, who've never sold anything online yet. So it has a very strategic place in my product suite, but it's not meant to be my signature program. Okay, so this is the product. I'm right now still working on the new content. I trip out a new module each week, and I think it'll be amazing. I really hope that people get great results with it. And it's so easy to follow and to launch your online course. I don't think I've ever seen anything out there like it because it's such a clear step-by-step roadmap. I make it as easy as possible. It's basically everything I've learned in the last 6 years creating and selling online courses. How can I make it as simple as possible and give you a step-by-step roadmap where everything is covered, and wherever possible, I add templates that save you tons of time. So, I really believe in it, right? So I really believe in this program. I think it's great. Doors are closed right now. Send me an email or a DM if you would like to learn more, and then I'll let you know when I open it up again. So I want to focus really on this group of students and on creating and tripping out all the content before I make it available again. So this is important. When you want to sell something online, you really have to believe in it. And I'm excited about it. And I hope that showed in my launch. So, okay, now let's talk about the launch. What did I do? The first step for me, and what I teach also my student, is always the pre-launch content push. I created more content around online courses, talked about it in some podcast episodes and on Instagram. But not enough, probably. So I've been launching already a ton this year. Just in Q1, I've launched Niche Bliss, how to find your profitable niche, the Blissful Sales Accelerator, and how to set up evergreen sales, funnels, upsells, downsells, all those things. And in February, I did a masterclass to launch my premium offer, the Blissful Biz Incubator. So this wasn't really perfect timing because there was a bit of overwhelm in this masterclass. I also talked about online courses, but more with a focus on premium programs. But, maybe not everybody got that really. So it wasn't like a big launch with a big pre-launch phase. Like when you launch something only once or twice per year, you obviously would be able to really extend that phase. And I promise it could also really help your results. I wanted to keep things simple, and I did. So I was considering doing a 5-day challenge because it really worked great in the past with a masterclass on the last day. And I teach how to do that in the incubator, but I really didn't think I had the energy for that in March, like this, at this time. So I just moved in my new apartment in Mallorca. I moved to a new country. I was busy decorating it, organizing things. I had a friend coming over to visit me. So it wasn't the time where I wanted to go all in and be super busy with a 2-week launch period where you really don't have time for anything else. So I decided just to do a single masterclass for this launch, your 6-week roadmap to create and launch your first online course the quick and easy way. I set up a registration page on my website, a confirmation email, and got busy promoting it. And I also created a waitlist for the program, which I don't think I've really done that before. And I started talking about it to create product awareness. By this, I mean that I wanted people to know that I actually have this new offer, because this takes time to build up for people to actually realize this, right? In my pre-launch content, I would say 2 to 3 weeks before the masterclass, I talked about online courses, as I said, and I always added a call to action to sign up for the masterclass. And in a few posts and one email newsletter, I also asked people to sign up for the waitlist and talked about the offer that was coming, the program. Not a lot of people took me up for that and signed up for the waitlist. And that's okay. I just wanted people to hear about my new program and realize that this is coming. My focus was on filling up my masterclass, and this I did. And by the way, I love the website template that I have. So if you've been following me for a while, you know I used to teach how to build a website in WordPress, and I had a WordPress website. But then last October, I switched to Showit, which I'm using now, and I bought a template from Tonic Site Shop and used their event page template. And it's amazing, my friends. It's so amazing. It's so simple to set up. And it converted incredibly well, with nearly 60% of the people who visited the landing page signing up for the masterclass. That's a really, really good result, especially with cold traffic, because I use Facebook ads in this launch as well. So I'm thinking about updating my Blissful Websites course using Showit to really help you build an amazing, easy-to-use website and really elevate your website. Tell me if you would like that, if you want to hear more about that. It might just happen a little bit later this year. Okay, so back to this launch, right? So I use Facebook ads, and I haven't done ads in my last launches, but here I knew I wanted more people in. And because I also was hoping for more revenue, I knew it was a proven offer. I've sold like a similar program, the Blissful Biz Academy, in the past, very successfully. And I don't recommend necessarily using Facebook ads for your very first online course launch when you haven't really sold it organically, like to people who already know you and like you and trust you. It can be really hard to sell it to people who don't know you yet. And this is what we call cold traffic, people who just met you, right? Who don't really know and trust and like you yet. So I would always recommend for a first launch, do it organically. Just launch it to people who are already following you. Get your first students, get feedback from those students, hopefully get your first testimonials, and then you can launch it again, and then launch it again, and then maybe you're going to invest in Facebook ads. So this time I was ready to use Facebook ads. So I started with a small budget, saw that my cost per conversion was very reasonable, and increased it. In total, I spent $2,500 on ads. And I think over 800 people signed up for my masterclass from those ads, on top to people from my email list and from social media. So I had like over 900 people signed up in total. Which is pretty great. And of course, there's always like an overlap. People who are following me on my emails or something, who get my emails, who are already following me, they also get to see the Facebook ads, right? So they might see those ads and sign up through an ad, even though they also got the emails. But those ads worked really, really well. I also sent 2 emails to my mailing list about the masterclass. So single emails where I only talked about the masterclass. And I also mentioned it in my weekly newsletter. So people came from that as well. I was really excited about the masterclass and even upgraded my Zoom plan. So more than 100 people could join live. But actually only around 90 people showed up live, which is a pretty low attendance rate, right? So normally I get like around 20%, and this time it was like 10%, which is really low. I don't know if it was the day, the time, maybe because it was a lot of cold traffic, so people who didn't really know me yet. And I also think this is where it really helps to have a longer pre-launch period where you talk about your offer, mistakes people make, how what you teach can help them, share case studies, all the things to really create that awareness and that trust and establish your expertise on that topic. But anyway, the masterclass went great. So people were engaged and a bunch stayed until the end. And I was happy with it. And then, of course, I sent out the replay. I got great feedback as well, how helpful it was, how inspirational and casual and friendly, which I was so happy to hear that, because this is exactly the feeling I wanted people to have, that we are all just sitting down with a coffee for a chat about online courses. So, and then after the masterclass, I sent out a bunch of emails, like with every launch, posted a bit about it on social media, and that's about it, right? So I prepared and scheduled in advance as much as possible. So this launch really wasn't taking up a lot of my time or energy. My friend also arrived on the day where I did the masterclass. So that whole week after, I had the cart opened for a week, just like 6 days, I think. I was busy. We were just exploring Mallorca, traveling around, cooking dinner, and which was a great distraction, right? So just preparing everything in advance as much as possible really helped. But still, this time after your masterclass or your launch event, when the cart is open and you're waiting for people to buy, it's always a bit nerve-wracking, and this time it really was. It's not that I was overly attached to a certain outcome, but I was hoping to make at least 10K, and the minimum would be to recover the cost for what I invested in Facebook ads, right? Which is not a lot. I've spent more in the past on Facebook ads for launches. I know other people spend 10,000 upwards for their launches. So it felt like I was still playing small here. But again, I launched this new offer, basically an updated offer. I still launched it for the first time. So I wasn't really ready here to invest more in advertising before it's really a proven product. And so that actually worked out well. I'm happy with that decision and that strategy. So the minimum for me was just to recover my costs and then hoping make a little bit more. And it felt like for the longest time, like I wouldn't do that. Like it would be an epic failure because beside one sale, all sales came on the very last day, some in the last hour before I closed the doors. So here I was trying to be all zen and trusting in the universe and trying not to get attached to the outcome while also manifesting and believing. And it was not easy, let me tell you that. Thankfully, my friend was here, so I was busy and didn't have time to fret over things too much. But I had a few moments where I felt that fear closing in. Why was nobody buying? I had such successful launches in the past with 30 and more sales. Was this over? Was this just because of the pandemic? Was it the cost of living crisis? Was I completely wrong with this offer? All those fears were showing up. But only for moments, thankfully. I was able to not get sucked in here. And this is something that really gets easier with experience when you do this more often, when you go through launches a few times and of course, use tools like yoga or meditation, journaling, being in nature. All that helps as well. And in the end, it all worked out. All that believing and trusting and manifesting. I reached my minimum goal. It was a 5-figure launch. And I already tripped the first 2 modules. People are working on their courses. And my next goal is to help people really get results. So I get some new success stories that I can share. And they get the great results, obviously, right? So it was quite a journey those week, actually. But I'm really happy, with the result. And I think also with how I managed it, how I managed my energy and managed to not get sucked into that fear just for a few short moments, right? And continue to show up, because this is what can happen then when we are at that moment and we have those fears and overwhelm, and then we stop showing up and we don't believe in it anymore, right? You need to have that positive attraction energy when you talk about your offer, that excitement that you feel. It's difficult to show that when you are stuck in that fear cycle. So that can be a challenge. And it is what it is, right? You can only do your best to get over that when you're not there yet, right? When you are feeling all those fears coming in and it's just like, those nerves are really getting to you, those launch nerves. It's a real thing. I feel every entrepreneur probably goes through that. Just give yourself some grace. I promise it's going to get easier when you do this more often. So don't give up. Don't give up before your big success. Don't give up when you had just a first launch that maybe you didn't sell anything, or maybe you didn't sell as much as you hoped for. Sell it again, like 2 or 3 months later, sell it again, do another launch, maybe adapt the messaging, but do it again, and I promise it's going to get easier. So let's look at what worked and what didn't work in this launch. What didn't work? I didn't reach my wine goal. I always have 3 different goals: a beer goal, a wine goal, and a champagne goal. So like the minimum and the maximum, and my real goal in the middle. I'm a wine drinker, obviously, right? So I always aim for my wine goal. I think the biggest issue was maybe the messaging. I positioned this as a course to start to create your first small online course. I didn't say beginner, but it was clearly for people just getting started. And one thing I forgot here is that nobody likes to sit at the kiddie table. Even when you are a beginner, you don't want to sit at the kiddie table. And telling people that this is a great way to start an online business, right? To get started, to create your first offer, to put it out there with a really easy to follow roadmap. It's maybe not a really sexy result, right? Not like promising people to make like 5K or 10K with their first online course launch. Because when you sell something for $100 and you only have a teeny tiny email list, you're probably not going to see those results. So, I didn't want to lie, obviously. But I'll have to think about if I want to change that messaging and in what way. I'm also going to check in with my students inside the course and see what they create, what they actually need to hear. So that was one thing that I think didn't work perfectly, and something that I'm going to have a look out for in the future, right? The other thing is that the pre-launch phase was too short. And it was too soon after my last promotion where I also talked about online courses. But, in the end, I'm actually okay with this because I prefer to have a bunch of easy launches over the year. This was my goal for this year, right? With smaller results instead of just one or two super big ones. So it was what it was. It was what it was. Oh God, that's like a mouthful. And I wouldn't change that. So I have this really strong vision for the product suite that I want to create. In 2022, I was really exclusively focused on selling the Blissful Biz Incubator. And now I wanted to add like online courses at a lower price point to my product suite that are basically all lead to the incubator. But just like create more offers for people at different stages in their business. And so that's my goal for this year, and to expand my product suite and then to really set up smart funnels and to sell those things on Evergreen as well. And I'm really focused on that. And that's why I created this offer mainly. So I was okay with this not being like the biggest launch ever and for it not to fit perfectly into my launch schedule or something. I just wanted to get it out there. So that was that. What did work well? What worked well was Facebook ads. I got a bunch of new subscribers, and some of the people who bought are completely new subscribers. So I checked, right, when they signed up. So they came from those Facebook ads. And some of those who didn't buy hopefully stay on my list, and maybe they'll invest in working with me in the future. I think this is why launches are great for your business. You really increase your visibility and establish yourself as an expert about a certain topic, and you can increase your audience. You can grow your audience, right? So I also got a bunch of new followers on Instagram and Facebook because of the ads. Because when people see an ad and then they check out your profile, and when they like it, they follow you. What also worked was adding upsells and downsells to this campaign. I added an upsell for my course Blissful Sales Accelerator on the thank you page after people bought, and a couple of people took me up for that, and I sent out a couple of emails with a downsell offer, a chance to buy my course Niche Bliss for a discounted price, and a few people bought that, so it all added up to the revenue. I actually teach these strategies with examples and templates and all the things inside the Blissful Sales Accelerator. You can learn more about it when you go to susannereiche.com/accelerator. If you already have an online course, you need this program. If you want to learn how to sell it on Evergreen, add sales funnels, do sales calls, social selling, upsells, downsells, all the things are explained in an easy to understand and to implement way inside this program. So check it out. What also worked was repurposing things from my former launches, preparing and scheduling posts and emails as much as possible. And the final thing that I recommend you definitely add when you launch an online program is offering free discovery calls. I had a few people sign up for them, and nearly all of them converted. I think it really helps you and your customers. I learned more about my students and their struggles, and I really love the connection. I love meeting them, right? And they got to meet me as a real person behind the screen who really cares about them and their results. So there you have it, a really honest behind the scenes glimpse of my most recent launch. I don't have any mind-blowing results to share, like 6 figures or something like that. And I want you to realize that this is more than okay. That's truly how I hope you approach this episode. No comparison games, no getting down on yourself if you're just getting started and have a smaller launch than you expected, or you didn't sell, or maybe even like you had a bigger launch than you expected, but you still compare yourself to other people who are more successful. Don't do that, right? Don't get stuck in that comparison game. Just keep moving forward in your business. For me, it's more important that this launch worked with my schedule. It didn't burn me out. It was easy. It flowed. It was just a masterclass, a bunch of ads and social media posts and emails, a handful of discovery calls, and still 5 figures in my business account. I hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Until next week, I can't wait to connect with you again soon. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Blissful Biz podcast. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes. This would mean the world to me. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to never miss a new episode. To learn more about how to work with me one-on-one, my courses and membership, or to get instant access to freebies, workshops, and more, go to susannereiker.com right now. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.